In this podcast episode, the guest and Coulter discusses various topics including her views on politics, her relationship with Donald Trump, and her predictions for future elections. She begins by talking about the censorship she has faced on social media platforms like Twitter and her decision to start using Substack as a way to share her columns and videos without censorship. Coulter then reflects on her support for Donald Trump during his presidential campaign and her belief that he would win the election. She mentions her viral clip on Bill Maher's show where she confidently predicted Trump's victory, despite the skepticism of others. She also talks about her book, In Trump We Trust, and how she initially believed Trump would fulfill his promises, particularly regarding immigration and the construction of a border wall. However, Coulter expresses her disappointment with Trump's actions once he took office. She criticizes his failure to build the wall, his involvement in foreign conflicts, and his choice of advisors, particularly Jared Kushner. She also mentions her frustration with the media's portrayal of Trump and their focus on the Russia investigation rather than holding him accountable for his policy decisions. Coulter then discusses her views on other politicians, including her support for Governor Ron DeSantis and her belief that he could potentially defeat Joe Biden in a future election. She also mentions her skepticism about Trump's chances of becoming the Republican nominee again, citing the Democrat strategy of tricking Republicans into renominating him. The conversation shifts to the topic of election integrity and the allegations of voter fraud in the 2020 election. Coulter acknowledges the concerns raised by many Republicans but also emphasizes the importance of evidence and due process in addressing these claims. She criticizes the media for dismissing these concerns and argues that Republicans need to focus on presenting a strong case rather than relying on conspiracy theories. Coulter also discusses the role of the media in shaping public opinion and the challenges faced by conservative voices in the mainstream media. She argues that the media's bias against conservatives makes it difficult for them to effectively communicate their ideas and gain support from the public. She reflects on her own political views and her support for conservative policies. She mentions her admiration for President Ronald Reagan and his ability to connect with voters. She also discusses the importance of immigration and crime as key issues for conservatives and expresses her satisfaction with Governor DeSantis' handling of these issues in Florida. Coulter continues by discussing her support for Chris Christie during the 2016 election and her subsequent disappointment in his immigration policies. She also mentions meeting with Christie privately to discuss immigration for 2 hours. Coulter then expresses her initial dislike for Donald Trump but acknowledges his humor and articulation, which she found appealing. However, she criticizes Trump for not following through on his promises, particularly regarding immigration and the border wall. The conversation then shifts to a recent exchange between Coulter and Trump on social media. Coulter explains that she was asked to bring a newspaper article to Trump to sign at a restaurant, and when he saw her name in the article, he asked her to come to Bedminster. Coulter declined but suggested doing a video interview instead. However, she claims that Trump refused and instead attacked her on social media. Coulter believes that Trump was afraid to do the interview because she would challenge him on his immigration policies. Patrick questions Coulter's lack of confidence in Trump's ability to win the 2024 election. Coulter responds by stating that she believes Trump would lose in a landslide if he were to run again. She argues that many Republicans are disillusioned with Trump's failure to deliver on his promises, particularly regarding immigration. Coulter also suggests that Trump's base of support is smaller than it appears, as many people who claim to support him do not actually care about his policies. The conversation then turns to the potential Republican candidates for the 2024 election. Coulter expresses her support for Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, praising his articulation and conservative record. She also mentions her distrust of Trump and her belief that DeSantis would be more likely to follow through on building the border wall. Patrick challenges Coulter's assertion that Trump would lose in a landslide, citing his popularity among Republicans. Coulter responds by arguing that Trump's support is largely based on a cult of personality and a hatred for the media and Democrats. She believes that many Trump supporters do not actually care about his policies and would be willing to overlook his failures. The conversation then shifts to the current political landscape in New York. Coulter discusses the recent election of Eric Adams as mayor and the growing dissatisfaction with sanctuary city policies. She praises DeSantis for his stance on immigration and suggests that more Americans are waking up to the problems caused by open borders. Patrick asks Coulter about the possibility of a Trump-Harris matchup in the 2024 election. Coulter responds by stating that she would not support either candidate and would likely sit out the election or vote for a third-party candidate. She expresses her frustration with both major parties and her belief that neither is truly addressing the issues that matter to her. The discussion continues with Coulter expressing her frustration with the Republican Party and its lack of action on key issues. She criticizes the party for not delivering on promises such as immigration reform and border security. Coulter argues that many Republicans are more interested in tax cuts than in addressing the concerns of their base. The conversation then turns to Donald Trump and his presidency. Coulter explains that she initially supported Trump in 2016 because she believed he would address the issues she cared about, such as immigration. She praises Trump for his strong stance on immigration and his efforts to secure the border. However, she also criticizes him for his handling of other issues, such as the COVID-19 pandemic. Coulter discusses the events of January 6 and the storming of the Capitol. She argues that while the actions of the protesters were wrong, the media and Democrats have exaggerated the severity of the event. She also criticizes the FBI for its handling of the situation and suggests that there may have been some level of planning involved. The conversation then shifts to the state of the media, with Coulter expressing her disappointment with Fox News. She accuses the network of lying to its viewers and promoting a biased agenda. Coulter argues that the rise of podcasts and alternative media has weakened the influence of traditional cable news networks. Coulter also discusses the recent controversy surrounding Republican Congressman Matt Gaetz. She criticizes Gaetz for his role in attempting to remove Kevin McCarthy as Speaker of the House and suggests that his actions have harmed the Republican Party. The interview concludes with Coulter offering her thoughts on Tucker Carlson and his show. She suggests that Carlson is following a similar path to other former Fox News hosts and predicts that his influence will decline over time. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe.